If we're ready to reconvene, we'll move on the agenda to the second presentation of Ordinance 2025-01, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance Amendment. And we have Director Zerby and Mr. Garrett. Did I say that right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Good evening, supervisors. I think before I start with the going in line with the comprehensive zoning ordinance update, I'm going to skip to slide 3, the overview, and just explain why do we have to amend the zoning ordinances? Well, to ensure the ordinances remain relevant and effective, but okay, what does that mean? And if you wanted to boil that down to a simple statement, it's do our current land use regulations align with community needs? Does our zoning ordinance closely relate to current housing and use trends? And can our zoning ordinance effectively realize the goals and policies that have been set forth by our comprehensive plan? These are the reason why townships, boroughs, cities, every so often, every 10 years potentially, have to review their zoning ordinances and make amendments to keep up with current trends.
I'm sorry, I need to interrupt. I've just gotten a message that says that the live streaming is not working.
There's no one in there, I'll find it.
Oh dear.
Supervisor Thompson, is your contact? Are they talking about YouTube live stream or
Yeah, it's working.
or on the
Working over here.
television?
Okay, all right.
Am I able to proceed?
He's
Please
working
continue.
now.
Thank you. We also amend zoning ordinances due to changes in state and federal laws, court rulings, and those community needs often necessitate updates to zoning regulations. Also to reduce legal risks and adapt to evolving land use patterns, basically to avoid being challenged for uses that are not provided for by the township. Without periodic revisions, the zoning ordinances could become outdated and hinder the community development. So to the process, how we got here. The research and background. We reviewed the 2018 Comprehensive Plan's recommendations. Well, what were the goals and objectives specific to zoning? They were to seek improved design and residential development, prioritize open space development in select areas, and housing to allow residents to age in place. We reviewed the existing ordinance and official map. Reviewing this existing ordinance came down to, okay, can this ordinance be amended, or are we looking at something that had to be repealed and replaced? Remember, it's been almost 19 years since the last time our current ordinance has been amended, so it became clear that the path going forward was to repeal and replace the ordinance. Also, we're identifying missing elements from the current ordinance. Okay, how is our ordinance logically laid out? Is it easily able to follow? Can you find all the information that's needed? Our definitions in our current zoning ordinance were scattered throughout the ordinance in different sections. Our guidance on administration and enforcement was lacking, where applicants that were looking to apply for special exceptions or conditional uses would really have to refer to the municipality's planning code to get that language. With our current zoning ordinance, or the ordinance we're looking to have adopted, that language is all self-contained within the ordinance to provide the guidance that you would need to move forward with those specific uses. So the original draft article was a complete repeal and replace of the current ordinance, and the official zoning map was amended. The initial draft ordinance presentation to the public was in June of 2024. And throughout that process, the official public review process was over 11 months due to public comment. Public comment was specifically to the proposed official map. And throughout the process, staff has made revisions to the official zoning map based on public input, which resulted in a total of 3 revisions throughout the process. The current zoning ordinance. The current ordinance that we're working with now was adopted in 2006. Since the adoption in 2006, uses have evolved that were not defined at the time. Examples are large-scale solar facilities, live-work units, and short-term rentals were just to name a few. I could go on and explain and talk about agritourism, electric car charging stations. The list is pretty expansive at this point. So right now, we're looking to put the comprehensive plan into action. What does that mean? Well, based off the recommendations, it was to seek improved designs and new residential development. We've deleted the residential cluster district and had it replaced with the R2 district. We discussed this throughout the process. This is a zoning district that the township was looking to move away from as a no longer development option in favor of certain residential districts had enhanced architectural and landscaping features. We'd look to enhance our open space standards in the open space district. What that resulted in is we're looking at open space lots can't be less than 2 acres in size. All proposed dwelling units have to be within 300 feet of public recreation or a common open space. And we're looking to have, and trails have to be interconnected to those open spaces so residents can actually be able to use those spaces. Additionally, we've added the neighborhood design transitional development as an option. That would be the only real zoning district that's been added to the proposed zoning ordinance. We're looking to provide for redevelopment potential, expanded uses within the commercial districts. Well, how do we expand the uses with the commercial districts? Well, for one, we have an increase of over 400 definitions compared to the current ordinance. There's uses that we've had in the past that were not even contemplated, so when we get proposals, it made it difficult for the township to open up those doors for development. If you didn't have a definition for those uses, it's a use not provided for, or the applicant would have to provide for a conditional use. That's not the path you want to take. You want to have that information contained within your zoning ordinance so you can have the ability to approve those applications. We've also simplified our sign ordinance. This should reduce the need for variances. Our current sign ordinances was based on specific building types within the township. Now it's based on 3 things. It's either a building is in the commercial district, it's a commercial use in a residential district, or it's a commercial use within the commercial district itself. There are restrictions in place for the signage regulations that should help our zoning hearing board going forward, reduce the need of variances, which now signage would be based on linear feet of total building instead of having only 4 signs per building walls, which was a hindrance to majority of our commercial establishments within the township. Also, we have updated parking standards, which would also reduce the need for variances. The parking ratio requirements for those following uses for the parking standards have been reduced based on data provided by the Dauphin County Planning Commission. Restaurants, bars, grocery stores, retail stores greater than 20,000 square feet, financial institutions, and business offices. Those specific uses are based off of minimum parking requirements. Our ordinance, as we're looking to propose, base most uses off 2 spaces per 200 or 300 square feet of gross floor area. These specific uses that I've mentioned here are one space per 2,000 square feet within the zoning district. This will allow for development to not have to be so overparked. As you can see from this aerial image here, the size of the parking lot at the Colonial Commons, and that it's being underutilized. Our current zoning ordinance overparks for commercial and restaurant uses. Accessory structure updates. Residential accessory buildings, sheds, and detached garages. Our current setbacks have increased from 5 feet to 7.5 feet. Maximum height is now dictated by the size of a lot. If a lot is 2 acres or larger, the size of a detached structure can be 20 feet. If you're less than 2 acres and 1 acre, that maximum size is 15 feet, 15 feet in height. Our current ordinance set the current height at 25 feet, so when you had a small lot that was maybe 10,000 square feet and a detached garage was constructed that may have had a height of 25 feet, the scale was incorrect and would provide a burden to neighboring property owners. Fences. We have guidance in place. For one, the smooth side should be to the outside. You would be surprised how often this happens, where we get complaints from residents where a fence gets installed and the smooth side, the resident that constructed the fence looks at the nice side, and the neighboring properties see the support to the fence itself. So now we have guidance that tells you that that's not how you want to do that. Fences shall not obstruct driveways. Our current ordinance didn't contemplate that. Now it does. We now have the ability to ensure that there's safety measures in place when the fence gets installed in the front yard. Accessory dwelling units. This is a new use in the ordinance. It permits an accessory dwelling in any residential district. It can be attached or detached to the primary dwelling, and to have an accessory dwelling unit, the person that resides there must be related to the primary homeowner. There is no minimum floor area. Basically, you just need to have a kitchen, bathroom, and living space. Other new uses defined. Short-term rentals. Short-term rentals are a special exception, and they're to be approved by the zoning hearing board in the conservation, agricultural, residential, and village districts. Tiny houses can be a principal or accessory dwelling. These permitted uses are in the R1, R2, R3, and village districts. Tiny houses can also be modular homes. So we are the modular parks that we've had now should be transitioning to tiny homes. I expect you'll be seeing this probably in the next couple months here, pretty close to the township building. Solar facilities. They're defined as large energy production facility, a facility that produces electrical power for off-site use. This could be ground-mounted or roof-mounted, and the use needs a conditional approval by the Board of Supervisors. This use is only permitted in industrial districts. Our current zoning ordinance had no definition of solar facilities. It was a use that was not provided for, and if an applicant wanted to have a solar facility installed, you had to seek conditional use approval for a use not provided for. Small solar energy systems. This is solely for on-site consumption. It's roof or ground mounted and is permitted in all residential districts. We have our own set of standards associated with small solar systems. Setbacks are 10 feet, and they are permitted by right use in the residential districts, as I've mentioned. Here is our proposed zoning changes map. It's probably not the best rendering, but this highlights the properties that have been, or the parcels that have been specifically proposed for rezoning. This has received recommendation of approval by the Planning Commission, and we're looking to have the map moving forward to the Board of Supervisors at the May 19th meeting.
Could you repeat that, Mr. Gerhart? You were turned away from
Oh, I'm
the
sorry.
mic.
The proposed zoning changes map, this simply highlights the parcels that have been identified for rezoning within the township. This is not the proposed official zoning map, but simply a visual tool for our residents so you can see what parcels have been identified for rezoning. The proposed official zoning map that I have here on the screen, this map has been recommended by approval by our planning commission, and we're hoping that seek approval from the board of supervisors at the May 19th public meeting. In closing for the presentation, I have information here regarding where you need to go to access the proposed ordinance and map. The proposed ordinance and map revision have been available throughout the process on the township website, and we have the links here provided so that you can view them at home if you want to if you want to view the zoning draft and map itself. If there's any questions for myself, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
I have a question.
Sure.
You made a comment that said you will be seeing this close to the township building, and I believe you were referring to tiny homes?
Tiny homes, that's correct.
Oh, how close and where?
So on Count Street, we had a lot that housed had modular homes.
Yes.
The township had one of the modular homes demolished some years ago, and now there's a new owner that purchased those lots. That lot was suitable for three units, and the applicant wants to install 3 tiny homes at that
Oh,
location.
okay,
It
thank
should be a major improvement for the community.
Okay, thank you.
What if the new zoning ordinance puts a resident's property in a non-conforming use? For example, the shed setback. What if their current setback doesn't comply with the new ordinance? Is there a variance that they need to seek, or are they grandfathered in?
So they're
It's a process.
grandfathered in. Those regulations are laid out in the section of our ordinance for non-conforming structures. So that resident has that right in perpetuity to have a shed 5 feet away. If they want to expand the shed, they can expand the shed if they like, but they can't encroach any closer than 5 feet. But the right is there, like I said, in perpetuity.
Any other questions, board members? Nice job.
Thank you.
Moving on then, we'll talk about the first presentation of the ordinance 2505, amending the Lower Paxton Township Comprehensive Plan land use map as adopted on August 8th, 2018.
Okay, so what I have before you is what we're defining as our future land use map, and our comprehensive map, and our comprehensive plan is defined as our land use map. It was adopted in August of 2018. The land use map and the comprehensive plan is to provide guidance on future development in the township for the next 10 to 15 years. Now, as I want to remind the Board of Supervisors, there is no legal requirement to officially follow the comprehensive plan. The issue is that when the land use map was adopted, it was basically our township zoning map. Future zoning districts weren't contemplated. There were some changes to institutional districts that were proposed, and there was recommendations for open space, but there were no other recommendations for future land use. When the township went to move forward to make recommendations on the official zoning map, it put the land use map and zoning map in direct conflict. Well, with that conflict, that could potentially open the township up to challenges. Meaning, we have an area that's shown on the official zoning map as one district. The future land use map shows it as another. Someone could challenge that, potentially sue the township, and it could be ruled invalid. So the recommendation was that we needed to amend our land use map to reflect what our current zoning map would look like. The future land use map isn't exactly as our official zoning map. To the south, we've made recommendations for the, let's see if I can zoom in on this here. Okay, here we are. For the neighborhood design district to the south is one of the recommendations that we have on the future land use map. Because there's one parcel on this map that is not shown on our official zoning map is of no issue, but given the amount of land that was rezoned on our official zoning map compared to what our land use map had in our comprehensive plan that was adopted in 2018, it could have opened the township up to some types of liability, which is what led us here today. So with the land use map, we've made the changes to the map, and we've also added definitions for the town center district and the neighborhood design zone, while also removing the residential cluster district, since that is no longer a use that will, that's a deleted use that no longer will be able to be utilized. Any questions?
Any questions by members of the board?
So, just for clarification, the residential cluster is now being substituted with an R2.
That is correct.
Is that just a name change, or is there a land use different?
So the residential medium density district and the residential cluster district shared the same use categories. Lots are the same district, allowed for the same type of dwelling units. The only difference was that the residential cluster district allowed for a clustering of homes. It was an open space development. The residential cluster district was popular. It was utilized. There's, as you see in the township, we have Stray Winds Farms, Amber Fields, just to name a couple that are under the residential cluster district. Popular developments, not exactly the desired results the township wanted to utilize going forward.
Thank you for the clarification.
And just, again, board members, for further clarification, as Mr. Garrett noted, both of these ordinances will be on your agenda for next Monday. Note the change of date, Monday, due to Election Day, for final adoption.
Thank you very much. Your presentation was excellent. Appreciate it. Next, will come the reorganization of the Board of Supervisors. I'm sorry? Sure, public comment.
Sir, could you, the microphone must have been shut off there. Thank you.
Now we're on. Okay. Tim Murphy, 1524 Pine Hollow Road. I had provided some written comment back in February because I couldn't make the Board of Supervisors meeting. And Mr. Gottschall did acknowledge that correspondence to me a couple of days afterwards and explained that the zoning ordinance had been sent back to the Planning Commission because of some concerns that were expressed from Tri-County Planning Commission. So I guess this is the next iteration now. And I have an additional comment that I hadn't thought of previously. And I want to focus on Section 103, Community Development Objectives. And this lists about 10 different objectives of providing this zoning ordinance for the township. The first one is to respect private property rights. And further down, another one of the objectives is to seek to promote compatibility between land uses. And the reason I focus on that particular thing is in the existing zoning ordinance, the township has a carve-out where you give yourself an exemption from following the zoning ordinance. Sounds peculiar. I didn't find that same wording in the new ordinance, and I'd just like to have a clarification of whether or not I'm missing that.
I'm unfamiliar with the language that Mr. Murphy is referring to. I'd have to research it myself to double check to see exactly what that would be within our current ordinance and our proposed ordinance.
That language is in the current ordinance, but it is not in the proposed ordinance.
The carve-out language?
The language that exempted the township from being required to follow the zoning ordinance.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Amanda, for that clarification. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that the township is going to be a more responsive and cooperative neighbor to those of us who have properties adjacent to township property. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Hearing none, I'll call on Chair Pro Tem Morgan Madden to conduct the reorganization of the Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, Supervisor. The next item on the agenda is the reorganization of the Board of Supervisors. If I could, is there any public comment before I take nominations? I will open the floor for a nomination for Chairman of the Board of Supervisors.
Is it a nomination or a
It's a nomination first, then we'll,
motion? Okay. I nominate Supervisor Kurtz for chair.
there is a nomination on the table, or excuse me, on the floor. Is there a second to that nomination?
I second that nomination.
Are there any additional nominations? Can I get a motion to close the nominations?
I motion to close the nominations.
Is there a second?
Second.
At this time, we'll vote on the nomination for Laura Kurtz to serve as Chairman of the Board of Supervisors. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries, election carries, and Chairman Kurtz will now take over for the election appointment of the remaining officers.
Thank you, Solicitor Madden. We'll move on to the election of the Vice Chair of the Board, and I will open the floor for nominations for Vice Chair.
I nominate Supervisor McCormick.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations for Vice Chair?
I motion to close nomination.
Thank you. May I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on to the appointment of the Secretary of the Board. I'll open the floor for nominations. I'll make a nomination for Supervisor Najim to serve as Secretary of the Board. Is there a second?
Second.
I will make a motion to close the nominations. Is there a
Second.
second? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
We'll now move on to the appointment of the Treasurer of the Board. I will open the floor for nominations for the Treasurer of the Board. I will move to nominate Supervisor Thompson for Treasurer of the Board. May I have a second?
I second.
I will make a motion to close the nominations. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Finally, appointment of the Assistant Secretary Treasurer of the Board. I'll open the floor for nominations. I would like to nominate Supervisor Vecchio to serve as the Assistant Treasurer, Assistant Secretary of the Board. May I have a second?
I second.
I'll make a motion to close the nominations. Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to announcements. Are there any announcements? of the board manager, assistant manager? Nope, seeing none, this meeting has gone on long enough. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. We are now adjourned.